Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, we'll call to order. Are you right now? Call to order at 6 o'clock. Trying to change the agenda, Staff Sergeant Wellsman just got a hold of me, they had an incident, so, he's going to reschedule it, so 3.02 will be removed from the agenda. Any other changes? Okay. We get adoption of the amended
Make
agenda.
that
Council
motion,
Warren.
Mr. Mayor.
All in favor? Carried. Delegations. Hanna Community Garden.
Gary, if you wanna, I'm not sure if Mike's joining you or you're, just grab a chair in the
You're
middle.
going by yourself.
It's safer this way. You'll thank me later. Okay, I'm just gonna read this because I'm like super nervous.
Don't be nervous.
I don't do this. Okay. My name is Carrie Bowden, and I'm here on behalf of the Hanna Community Garden. I was asked to come and discuss why we are asking the town for financial assistance in purchasing a sprinkler system for the community garden. If we succeed in obtaining a reliable, consistent, and adequate watering system, it will immediately benefit community members by ensuring germination, maintain growth, and bring the produce to its full potential, therefore ensuring food security with minimal water usage. It will increase our success rate, which in turn will keep an invested interest in gardening for years to come. We associate with many community members from long-term care, mental health, food bank, and just recently began to talk with J.C. Sherrick about expanding their agricultural education to incorporate our youth in the garden. The long-term care residents enjoy watching from their windows, walking by the garden, see the plants jump in height on a daily basis, and look forward to sampling the produce and offer their tips and expertise on gardening. Some have obtained plots in the past, and with the help of family or friends, grown their own produce with pride and a sense of accomplishment. A watering system would ensure their garden would thrive, even if they had to miss a day or two of watering. Mental health has gardening areas for their clients to promote socialization, motivation, self-esteem, and reduce stress. If we can increase their chances of successful and continual growth from a consistent watering system, it promotes positivity, which can help manage illness and ease depression. We always encourage food bank recipients to plant a garden. Seeds are usually plentiful as donations are dropped off, or if other gardeners have extra, they will leave them in the shed for others to use. With sparing some time and physical activity, one seed potato can turn into 8 to 10 potatoes and fill a vital food source for a family. But again, to be successful, it also requires adequate and consistent watering. In the past, plots not used were planted to produce goods to donate to the food bank by gardeners. I spoke with J.C. Sherrick about getting youth involved in the community garden, which could be done in several ways. They can be mentored by one of the gardeners and learn when to plant, seed depth, germination, weed control, harvesting, and proper storage techniques. They can get a plot of their own and we can guide them with our valuable knowledge, or they may be able to volunteer with a long-term care resident and learn gardening practices from a generation of when gardening was a survival tool. I believe it still is. Gardening teaches patience, responsibility, confidence, encourages healthy eating, can moderate moods, and ease anxiety and promote self-achievement. A watering system as well can aid in the looming drought crisis by maintaining moist soil, which is known to saturate water to the root levels faster and use less water than having dry soil from infrequent or too short of waterings. In the email I was sent, I was asked for more detail on the project, identifying where other contributions may be coming from, or who has been asked to fund, and any fundraising initiatives we have undertaken, and answer any questions you may have. I just explained the details of what this project will enhance for our community. The Hanna Community Garden became a nonprofit society in August of 2023 in order to apply for grants that qualify for our needs, and so far have applied to the Co-op Community Spaces Program, but with over 700 applications and only 14 awarded, we were unsuccessful. We also applied to Blue Earth for funds, but were unsuccessful as well. Some fund applications require the project to be over $10,000, so we could not apply. As for fundraising initiatives, we do 2 barbecue fundraisers with Friesens and cannot do any more as they are full from other groups trying to raise funds as well. We used to get a $500 annual donation from Councillor Campion from his CN volunteer program. The plot rentals are kept to a minimal as this is vital to survival and should not be out of price range. Our funds annually go to insurance, rototilling, hoses, connectors, and any tools that need replacing. We are a small group that is consistent with forming a committee and a few repeat gardeners that want a secure food source. That is why it is important to get a water system as soon as possible so we can ease our watering practices for drought assistance, attract more gardeners, promote a healthy lifestyle and positive mental health, educate and learn gardening without threat of crop failure from inconsistent or inadequate watering, while providing a space for food security in a time when food prices have risen drastically, along with food bank recipients.
Perfect.
Perfect, yeah, no, good job. Question, Councilor Woolley.
So Carrie, have you approached Alberta Health Services about the sprinkler system? I didn't hear
Yes.
that in your, and you have,
That's part of our agreement,
you can do anything with that property you
as
want.
long as it's above ground. And it's not anything that we're digging up. And this will be above ground, it'll stand 3 feet above.
So was there any consideration of financial support from Alberta Health
So
Services?
Alberta Health Services has already provided the land, we do not pay rent, and they also provide the water source.
Have you considered asking the Hospital Ladies Auxiliary as a primary donator to things that involve the hospital residents and
I wasn't
property?
sure if they did outside or not.
Okay. Most recently, we just had a presentation from a community organization called Community Foundations of Southeastern Alberta. Have you heard of
I've already contacted her
since we've received the letter or prior to?
2 weeks ago, I contacted her.
So you're waiting on to see where you guys might fit within the mandate
Yes.
of this particular?
I don't believe they have another intake till the fall.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. Councilor Murphy?
I love the community garden. I think it's absolutely wonderful. And this, when you're filling out grant applications, if you're struggling because you're being denied, I'd suggest you possibly go in and speak to the director of the library, Jen Steinbrecher. She is a whiz. She's doing so well. She's gotten us some grants we've never gotten before. And she might be able to help you, because sometimes it's as little as the wording that was used, or you didn't specify something, and that might help you in the future, but
All right.
good job. Thank you.
Brett.
Councilor Kroll?
At this time, I'd like to bring up what Angie had talked about, what Councilor Orley talked about at the last info meeting we had. We hand money out to some organizations, some we don't. Where are we gonna draw that line? I'd like to have some discussion on that. And figure out what we're gonna do. I mean, what's good for the goose is good for the gander.
One thing excuse me.
Councilor Woolley?
One thing we did identify in that meeting was the fact that the funds that we had given out over the last couple meetings and then some were initiatives that were on the town of Hanna property. Is that correct, Mr. Neal? I believe the ball diamonds and the pickleball. There's two.
We're town facilities.
We're
yeah.
town facilities, right?
Any other questions? Councilor Bowman?
Thank you for your presentation, Carrie. I'm just wondering, you make a comment in your letter that this project would help us with continuing to draw interest to the gardens, as summer is peak vacation time and watering is vital to a garden to keep it viable. So people rent the space, and are they not responsible for looking after the watering and weeding and things of that nature? And if they are not able to, then it's their responsibility to find somebody to do that.
Yes, that is how it goes, but if we miss a day or two of watering and the whole garden dies, it kind of makes them not want to come back.
And I guess that's their responsibility, right?
But this is what I'm trying to fix.
Well, I think we had a presentation with the town, gardener, Pam, I think it was last year. And they found, and even I think with the parks, that their best way of conserving water was spot watering, or it was not necessarily irrigation and things of that nature. So I'm just not really sold on that, and the fact that it is an optional program, and I'm just not sure where the town would end up recovering some of the expenses.
To that, if you grow food and you put that into people's homes, they will not be spending that money at the store, which those dollars that they save from spending at the store can go into other businesses and other entities in town.
So well, the same with people shopping local and everything. We can't control what people do with their extra money and things of that nature. How many people do you have that have signed up for lots?
We have 15.
And what do you charge for the lots?
We're charging $40, as we are not gonna charge anymore because it is a vital, essential need.
For the season, it's $40.
How big are your plots here?
They're 300 square feet, which is adequate for feeding a family of 4.
Let's see,
Yeah, they're 15 by 20. Yeah, they haven't changed. And need to know a little bit more about the sprinkler system. It's all just,
It's going to be an irrigation system that's going to be hooked up to the hose.
To the
The
hose.
sprinklers are going to be 3 feet above the plants because we cannot have anything below or it will not reach.
yeah, because,
And then it can be moved if rototilling has to be done or anything like that.
yeah, it's basically the same as what it was before, but it's just. got that
Yeah.
sprinkler kind of side.
Are all the lots accounted for?
Yes,
So you said you have 15 people, so that equates to 15 lots, and
no, we have 23 lots. We let people, try to get a lot until about the beginning of May when we have our first work week. And then that's when we measure out the lots, and if there's any excess, we try to cover it, because otherwise we end up being the one needing and caring for that lot. So we'll expand everybody's lots a bit, just so it's covered, that we do not have to look after it for the whole summer
so primarily in the years past, have all these lots been spoken for them
for this year.
for previous years as well? Or do you ever have years where there's there's vacant lots there?
No, we will always do something. We'll put food in for the food bank. We'll do whatever we have to in the empty lots, that it's not covered in weeds and that we can control it.
That's all.
Just one care would be an easy one. As Councillor Kroll said, like, there's no standard that we have for, giving money or donating money, so it's really, the ideal way is to have the group, commit a bit of money, a bit of sweat equity. There again, there's no number, but like 25% from the group, is that feasible, or is that like the hard no? I assume there's not a ton of money in this.
There isn't a ton of money in this. It's more hours of volunteerism. And it's hours.
The sweat equity part is pretty easy for you guys.
I did learn though that actually as this garden started, it was between Reach and the town of Hanna. And the town of Hanna actually was supposed to do our rototilling for us, but we haven't seen that since 2018. So we've been paying that kind of ourselves.
And so you pay for the rototilling, or does somebody volunteer that?
We pay for it.
So, yeah, I know that, when Councillor Campion was here, he would always ask, and I don't know if we've had a request.
Well, it was Gwen Snell that made the agreement, I guess, back in 2012, when she was on with community services. And I guess they paired up, we have all the emails at home, that they paired up, that when they were doing this, that the agreement would be that the town would do the rototilling.
Yeah, I'm not
And it was
aware.
between them and Reach. But of course, Reach doesn't exist, so it's kind of gotten flopped into our hands.
Okay.
So we're trying to expand and.
I'm not aware of an agreement,
Okay,
but, certainly if there was a request, we would have certainly, assisted.
Yeah, didn't come into this until last year, so I'm just learning.
So, yeah, so for future years, make sure you ask in the spring, and we'll certainly do that. I know last year we helped with hauling some stuff, and we've hauled different types of soil amendments and stuff from different places over the last number of years. But that was because we were requested to do it, so we don't want to put ourselves in telling you what to do or how to do your business, but certainly in future years, keep that in mind. We certainly would be prepared to do that.
Sure. I'm assuming you're all rototilled for the year, right? Or you-
We're all planted here
We're all
now for
planted
this
now.
year, yes.
Don't send anybody to do it now, Kim.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That would be,
that would be a bad decision.
any other questions for Carrie?
Yeah, I asked you to apply for Legion, see if they'll give them,
No, I didn't know the Legion had a grant.
they do occasionally.
Oh, okay, thank you.
The Elks.
There's lots.
Yeah, lots.
Well, I understand about planning for grants, but we're sort of at that space right now where we have mental health in there and things aren't growing, which is not good for them, right? And we have other gardeners that don't understand adequate and consistently. It's hard to explain because they see the top of the dirt wet and they're like, oh, it's good. It's not good. It takes quite a bit of water to soak in to get to the seeds and to the roots.
So what did you do before? You guys have a container that the AHS fills, and then you guys pump it out of there now, or what is it? Where,
Right now, we're hooked up to their town.
so basically by hose and you fill your pump.
And all the hoses are laying there now. Our seniors from the long-term care can't go on the path of this.
Mhm.
Yeah, because I remember having a lot, yeah, we used to have water our own. And springfish, whatever stuff.
So they can't go out there because it's a tripping hazard with all the hosts.
There's still be a hose though to the building?
There's still a hose and that's where our sprinkler system would be hooked up
Yeah.
to. It's spraying right off this, right off the tap.
So then there'd still be a whole hose going and tripping hazard too. So
It'd be just
For where?
one
No,
hose,
there wouldn't be a
one
tripping
line.
hazard anymore.
if you're hooking, so the hose and then we go underground.
When I worked at the hospital, we put sprinkler systems in.
It never ran that I've ever seen.
I left in 2007. They were there then.
We've never seen a sprinkler one line.
Councilor Bowden?
I didn't have a,
No, you were talking and I cut you off. I apologize. That's why I was giving you.
no, I
Anyone else? Okay. Thank you, Carrie. We'll have a discussion a little later on.
So, Mr. Mayor, just,
Yep.
sorry, I was gonna ask this earlier. So right now, Carrie, where you're at, I'm assuming you're still at ground zero,
We are still at ground.
still at
zero.
ground zero. So would this be something, I don't know how quick a turnaround it would be once you got your money to once you got the system in, or would this be something that could be, considered to be done in the off season in preparation of spring next year, I guess is my question. I'm not sure where you're at timing wise.
Well, the sooner the better, because we are really struggling to have our mental health issue. Like, that's my main goal there, is because their garden is absolutely bone dry right now. So we've been trying to step in, but I mean, we don't have our own issue areas, our own yards, our own lives. It's starting to just take, it's 8,000 square feet down there. It's huge.
Yeah.
So it's just taking up a lot of time, and we really want to see them see success, because they don't come, like, we give it to mental health every year, like, we make sure we have a space for them, but they just give up.
So does nobody from, staff wise from mental health take responsibility?
We do have one that's supposed to be running it, but if you miss 2 days of watering, it's dead, right? Like, you can't bring it back.
Okay.
So it's kind of vital to have the watering.
So with this sprinkler system, would it be automated then?
Yes.
And do you have somebody local that can do this project? And they obviously been in touch with them, and they.
Okay, so can we get a motion to thank Carrie for her presentation of the community garden? Counselor Carroll, all in favor? Carrie. All right, thank you, Carrie. Well, presentations, do we have any? No? Oh, okay. Just offer us.
Yeah,
Is this where anybody gets to?
yes, it is, Mr. Faco.
Can you stand?
Wherever you want.
Just
You
come
can
sit
over
over
here, you can come sit,
Oh. Well, I'm not really greatest public speaker, but we'll give it a whirl. I'm here today.
You can sing.
I was gonna bring my guitar.
See?
That's great, guys. But anyways, my name is Mark Fickle, for those that don't know me. I'm here to talk about the proposed solar project that's supposed to be, in the, yeah, everybody knows about it. It's, east end of town. I'm in close proximity of it, and I've talked to the owner or the representative, expressed my concerns. And over the last few years, I've had the good fortune of being able to travel a lot. And as I'm traveling through the USA, this last year, I made particular note of going past small towns and how many of their airports had solar panels beside them. And I got zero.
Yeah.
I stayed in a place in Arkansas, and there was a very knowledgeable pilot that did pipeline inspection because Arkansas is very oil rich. And this fellow, I happened to mention to him about it. He says, "You're gonna do what?" I says, "They're gonna put solar panels in close proximity to our airport." And he says, "That would never fly down here. So they would never allow it." I tried to find instances where there's solar panels close by. I mean, we're dealing with the US, we're in Canada, so I think that things are being pushed on us a little bit faster than what they need to be. But I'm talking about being opposed to the solar panels in a more of an economic development role. And we'll back up to probably 1972, when the auction market was rolling and it changed hands. And if we could do one thing, that would be to block the highway that allowed that man to leave town with that ran the auction market, because the auction market was the lifeblood of one of the lifebloods of Hanna. By letting that auction market leave, that put a big hole in our community. Now, what's that got to do with today? Right now, we have the John Deere dealership out there, which is a world-class company. They have branches in New Zealand, Australia, England, United States, Canada. We also have Co-op with the fertilizer plant out there. That's a world-class company. If you had told me 10 years ago that we're going to have two world-class companies in Hanna, I would have said, no, it's not going to happen. So now we have the potential of taking our good commercial land and putting solar panels, which can be put really anywhere. If that solar panel or that solar farm was built 15 years ago, do you think that where John Deere is today would have been covered with solar panels?
Yeah.
Probably, right? Yeah. So there's how many jobs that are being formed out of the John Deere.
My daughter's one of them.
Right, we need buildings like that. We need jobs like that. We don't need solar panels in town. I appreciate them coming to town, wanting to invest in our town. That can go anywhere. We have a shortage of land in Hanna.
Believe it or not, I went through this 16 years ago when I placed my new building where it is now. There's just not that much available land that's serviceable. Yeah, they can go south of the highway, they can go wherever, but that's one more step, 2, 3, 4 more steps in the process of building an operation. Some companies don't want to go that far. Lori knows the steps that they go through as to what it takes to build a building. Anyways, I feel that we're not putting enough emphasis on our industrial and commercial growth. And when I talked to Pace, the representative that I talked to did not even think about that. She says, that's kind of a different angle. Because we need stuff that you can put in a bag. We need stuff that people want to come to town for. We need jobs in town. We don't need solar panels in town. Those can be built anyways. Fundraise for some extension cord to get them out of town so that we don't lose our available land for, I'm close to it. Is it gonna affect the price of my property? I don't know. It's not gonna help it. I can guarantee you that.
You have quite the view from your place.
I do,
Right
yeah.
over.
Yeah, and
Very nice.
I'm very fortunate.
For now.
That's 5 minutes, give me a couple minutes to wrap up.
Yeah, I'm pretty well done.
Okay, no,
Yeah.
we've got to,
Yeah, I realize that. But,
no, appreciate it.
no, thank you very much.
Any questions,
There's
Mark?
a few questions, Mark, you're not done yet.
Yeah, Councilor Bowden?
I know that you've been away, but I don't believe there are any of us that are in favor of it. That the town has, we are looking at fighting it, but we can't really do a whole lot until they register with AUC, which is what we were told. At that point, then we can do some arguments or whatever through a lawyer that we're looking at. There is a group through the airport that have been doing some investigations. And one of our questions specifically was, how many airports, unmanned airports in rural communities have solar farms? And we were told at that time, oh yeah, there's some out there and everything. So we asked for that and they came back and they said they couldn't find any. So I think, I'm kind of not very impressed with the accuracy of some of the information that we've been given. We found that information has been wrong. We're just not impressed. They were told that they had approval from the fire department, fire chief and deputy on reviewing their fire plan, and they hadn't even seen it yet. So I'll speak for myself. I am not in favor of it because of our airport. If there is any sort of limitation for a fixed wing being able to land and evacuate, that is a concern. And I don't, like you said, there's other land out here that is worse land that is more suitable to it than it is in our backyard. So thank you for your presentation.
Councilor Work, you were pumping your hand up.
Yeah, I would just say thank you to Mark. Some of the things that Councilor Bowden expanded on was what I was going to say to you, that we did present a motion of not being in favor of supporting this initiative, but of course now it's within the AUC before we can find out
Right.
where we're going to sit and where we're going to go from here.
Yeah, I've been following it and I watched
Yes.
you on
Yes.
YouTube when you were having your discussion with the representative, and thank you very much. And as a whole, thank you for sitting on council, all of you. It's a tough job.
Well,
I would want
it's
to.
difficult when you
Yeah.
have somebody coming into your community that I don't think was asked, I don't know. But the decision is out of our hands. It goes to the Alberta Utilities Commission. And so they can come in and say, we want to build here. And if the landowner is the one that has got the contract with the developer, it's their land. Are we to be able to say what they can or cannot do what they want with it? But the fact that our airport is so close is a definite concern.
Okay.
That's to my knowledge, Mark, I don't even think they've applied for the permit yet.
I don't.
Well, when that hits, it's probably just gonna go bank and it will.
Well, the advice we got from the solicitor, but from the time the application is submitted to the time that there's a public hearing is 4 to 6 months.
Yeah.
So, to the best of our knowledge, there's no application been made.
And that's why I'm here today, because there's a chance that I might not be able to be here when that happens, so just,
You can register as an intervener. And come back.
We've got your back.
They have their focus on another municipality very close to ours. I mean, they are out in Hawaiian region now looking at an area out there, so.
Thanks, Mark, yeah.
yep, okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So much.
Thanks, man.
Anyone else? Okay,
Can we thank,
what's that, sorry?
can we thank Mark?
I did, but we can thank Mark, yeah.
If
You do
you,
a motion.
you can do a motion if you wish.
Oh. I'll do a motion.
Okay,
Thank Mark, please.
okay, so we have a motion on the floor from Councillor Bowden to thank Mark Bako for his presentation. All in favor? Carried. As I said, Luma. Minutes for the regular meeting, council, May 14th. Any errors, omissions? Hearing none, need a motion to accept. Councillor Kroll, all in favor? Carried.
put a liner in and put new clean material in. They're not gonna keep going and going and going. They're going to remove what they have and what they can in the water and sewer lines that are going in, and a little bit of buffer on either side, and put a liner in, then clean material. They're not just gonna keep going and going to remove all the contaminants. Just cost prohibitive to do that.
And in most cases, it's petroleum products.
Yes,
period.
100%.
We're not.
Or the old garages,
Yeah.
like Truman Ford down at the other block.
Okay,
The,
Is that
the,
empty
the
lot?
testing said this corner was the worst. So,
thank you.
yeah,
The other thing that we did talk about when we did the initial plan is they were going to, instead of going right up to the buildings, they were gonna hook onto the existing curb stop line going in. And I said that is, we can't do that. If we're gonna do it, we have contingency money. We need to put the new line all the way into the businesses. Because otherwise we're hooking onto copper lines that could have flared fittings, it could have, so we could have a brand new sidewalk and we're digging it up. Because we didn't change out the lines. So we're going to work with, Brooks. They've already been in contact with the local plumbers. And we are going to put lines right into the buildings, camera there, sewer lines. We can't force the business owners to change it, but for the cost, for us to do it, to save us down the road, to me, it's minimal. So I think we help the businesses out with that. It also, you know, for the time that they are down, it does help a little bit for them.
Well, it improves the value of their business when they know it's got clean.
It's a safe line and
Yeah,
we're
safe
not
line
digging
all the
the
way
front
up.
up to like the sidewalks.
Do you have some that are refusing or?
No, we
Just-
it was just
yeah.
something that was in the design that we never really looked at. I just assumed that an engineer would think to do that if you're going new, but if we're hooking onto the existing lines, we're not bettering it, so.
Better to the actual.
water lines are easier to do that with than sewer lines.
So that's about the meeting. And that's about the update and my report to you. Get those.
You covered two birds of one stone.
I was waiting because I'm gonna, I'm gonna get him again here.
So the other thing I do wanna to mention is we have received informal approval of our bridge application.
Yay.
So,
That's awesome.
waiting for formal announcement, but, looks promising that we will get, up to 1.4 million for the CN bridge, which is basically 75% of the project. If the project comes in less than anticipated, we'll get less, but we'll get 75% of the cost. So that was good news.
And that's culvert or bridge?
Well, that's just the grant. We have to still then decide what design we want for it.
What we can afford, yeah.
But I think the application that was submitted was based on the bridge, so it will be the highest cost.
Good.
If we go with a culverts system, it will be a reduced cost, so, we'll save and the province will save, so.
Did we get a quote? We haven't gotten a quote on that yet.
We've got an estimate from the
One
engineers.
point seven.
Oh,
We still need to find.
so
a
8.2 by the time.
Yeah. Yeah, so we've got the preliminary estimate from the engineer, but until you go through a tender process, we won't know, but, I think they feel comfortable with that amount that they've got in their estimate, so that was good. Community center, just the tin work required to complete, the kitchen space between the ceiling and top of the exhaust hood is scheduled for next week. Sometime next week, the installer will be out.
There it is. It's here.
There's our thunderstorm. And the last thing I wanted to mention in Kevin's report is, the skate park. He mentions the skate park equipment has been dismantled. Brooks is going to be paving that, surface with an overlay tomorrow. And the new equipment is supposed to arrive, I think within a week or two to be installed and in place,
So
so
did you get them to agree to do it for free?
almost.
Almost free.
We're still negotiating, but we definitely got a discount, so.
Good.
I see the 304 railway properties on your list,
304.
the Temple Shop.
Yeah, there's nothing new on that,
nothing.
no. I don't know if the school division has just got in there and things have worked better than they thought with the existing tank system, but yeah, they haven't come back and wanted to pursue it any further, so. But I think that's what I have, Mr. Mayor, unless there's any questions anyone on council would have.
You didn't have anything regarding community services coordinator? That you wanted
No, I didn't want to bring up, I think everything there was pretty straightforward. The only thing under community services coordinator, just to keep in mind, we are working on July 1st plans, so keep that in mind, we'll let you know, but we are working on our candidate plans, so.
You're on council rookie, the deputy mayor, but.
So it's community service coordinator. Okay, I got something to say about that. I attended all, just about every event that was carried on last week. It was New Year's week. The Mayor's Garden Party, I attended that. Wednesday, I attended Jim Holman's Jumbo Hot Dogs and Angela's Fresh Buns. There was probably 80% of the same people at those hot dogs and what was at Mayor's Garden Party. I don't know how many of them come to me and complained about the meal at the garden party, Mayor's Garden Party. It was absolutely, well, embarrassing to call that a meal. You don't take a cucumber and cut it in half and put it on a 2x2 piece of bread and call that a sandwich. I mean, last year, heard nothing but good news, you know, it was a good meal, everybody was happy, they had whatever. This year, people from the lodge went back and they had what was left over from lunch. They had meatloaf sandwiches. That was better than, a cold meatloaf sandwich was better than what they had served at Mayor's Garden. And then Friday, again, I attended the lodge banana split day. Again, there was probably 80% of the people there that was at the Mayor's Garden Party, and the same thing. They all read, you know, what are we gonna do? But that was terrible. Hey, all I can do is bring it up.
It's interesting, Councillor Crowley, you bring that forward because today I had both sides of it. I had a couple of gentlemen stop by the shop and suggest that it was under portion. And then I went down to the bank and I had a couple of people there and were having coffee, going that it was just the right portion because in the past they've taken food home from the Mayor's Garden Party. So I had both sides of that conversation, so. Yeah, I don't know that there's ever a one size fits all solution, so.
I don't think this was on the caterer, because this is that was the mayor's.
No, that
request.
was your
request.
order, yeah. That was
I know in
request.
previous years, the mayor never wanted sandwiches because it was never favorable. I heard negative comments too. The other thing was if you had any allergic reactions or allergies, most of the food that was served, there was one lady there that she said there wasn't even a vegetable for her to eat because she did get a bowl of the egg salad. Karen was very good to her that way, but she said virtually I should have just stayed at home because she said this was nothing that I could have, eaten with my, my food allergies. So, yeah, unfortunate. That's very unfortunate. I thought it was beautifully displayed, but unfortunately, it's probably not a meal that is favorable to our senior citizens.
Something for next year.
Yeah.
Like I said, we allow the mayor to choose the meal, and we've had Ukrainian, and what was the next one
Oh, I
after
can't
that?
remember what, the Ukrainian one went over pretty well.
Yeah. So he'll take that under advisement for next year.
Your friend from up north, yeah,
Yeah.
I see him all this weekend.
Okay, so anything else on the official reports? Else, yeah.
No, I don't have anything.
So just. Did have a little bit of feedback on our, change from the water bill to our weekly or sent bi-weekly, mailouts. Just some people like they like the water bill one, some people don't, so, and again, we're never gonna make anyone happy, just as a comment, it doesn't mean, so.
So the other comment that you raised there, I know that Michelle had attended one of the seniors functions, seniors week, I think it was the one at Blinks. And she asked a question, and again, that specific targeted audience appreciated the mail outs. That wasn't there, they weren't necessarily computer focused people, and she just asked a question, again, that with that targeted group, they did appreciate the mail
Yeah.
outs, so.
And like I said, you're never gonna make everyone happy, but I've learned this, so. Okay, can we get a motion to accept senior administrative reports 8.01 to 8.03 for information? Council Worley, all in favor? Carry. Business items, regional emergency management committee appointment.
So, Mr. Mayor, the background there is, as you're aware, in 2019, Special Areas Board initiated the Regional Emergency Management Planning Project. It's been moving forward. The members of that group are Special Areas, Town of Hanna, Village of Concert, Village of Empress, Village of Youngstown, MD of Acadia. So recently, we've got trying to move that project forward and move planning forward. In 2021, we did all communities pass the Regional Emergency Management Bylaw. And in that bylaw, there is the requirement for an elected official to serve as the primary on the Regional Emergency Management Committee, and as well as an alternate to serve on the Regional Emergency Management Committee. So they are looking to have their first meeting on June 24th. So it was important that we brought forward appointments so that we had appointed the people to attend that meeting. We had a local emergency management committee meeting on May 30th, and at that meeting, administration recommended that Mayor Pavischuk be appointed as the primary representative and Councillor Bowden as the alternate. Rationale behind us appointing or recommending Mayor Pavischuk was his experience on emergency management as a firefighter, and through his work on emergency management committees. So we did bringing forward that recommendation to this group for appointment.
Any questions? Motion, council to appoint Mayor Danny Pavischuk as primary representative and Councillor Sandra Bowden as alternate to the Regional Emergency Management Advisory Committee for a term to expire as of the end of the 2024 organizational meeting. Councillor Thorough, sorry about that, Councillor Olson.
Fine.
All in favor? Carried.
Block this vision, sorry.
Yeah, what little vision I have, thank you very much. Tax recovery auction date, Mr. Hill.
Just our annual process we go through. We do have 6 properties that can proceed to the auction sale. 2 of them, well, actually more than that, 3 of them have, 4 of them are back on the plan because they were on a tax payment plan and they defaulted. So that brings them back onto it, and we do have 2 new properties this year that are new to the list that we brought forward. So it's not a quick turnaround. They have to be in 3 years of arrears before we can do this. So they're registered with land titles. Land title sends letters. We send letters The owners have up until the date and time of the auction to either make payment or enter into a payment plan. And if they do, then they come off the auction date. If not, we go to auction, and we've used the same parameters as previous years, so lack of a better knowledge, we're using assessed value as the reserve bid. We do have an obligation to the owner and through the Municipal Government Act to get fair price, even though a tax property might be $3,000 in arrear, that doesn't mean we can sell the property for $3,001. We need to try to sell it for fair market value. That's why we use assessed value as our reserve bid. Following that, if no one purchases them at the auction, then council has the option to take title to them and list them for sale at that point. We don't like to do this. This is probably the last thing we want to do, but it comes to a point where after 3 years, you know, they've had ample time to make restitution and or enter into a payment plan. Trouble is, the longer they leave their taxes, the bigger the payment plan gets. And so that's it. It is our standard process, Mr. Mayor, and answer any questions if council has any.
Councilor Thurl.
So how long can they keep, you know, like if we get on a payment plan and they said, oh, they'll throw payment in once and then forget about it again? You know, if this is the second, third time, how long do you go to? Or is it?
So according to the MGA, a payment plan cannot exceed 3 years.
Okay.
So when we factor in a payment plan over 3 years, we factor in where they're at, what the next year's taxes would be, what the penalties would be, and so it's not just, they're not just trying to repay the $3,000 here. We're thinking 3 years in advance, so that might be $6,000 or $7,000 that they need to come up with over the 36 day period. So
no.
so we can't extend it more than 3 years. 3 years is the max.
Okay.
Councilor Warwick.
So, how many houses, we went through this a year ago, how many houses do we have at that, or properties at that point in time? Is there
A year ago,
a year?
I think last year we had 3 or 4 that went to auction. We had quite a few at the beginning, in March, and we're certainly had higher amount in March. Some people have come in once they've received their notification from land titles and started to pay those taxes off. But these are what's outstanding at this
Yeah.
point.
So annually, would you say that we have approximately 3 to 4 a year over the years?
That would probably be a high, Councilor Warwick. We've gone many years with 0.
Okay.
Probably the 11 years I've been here, we've probably had 4 or 5 auctions. We've had several years where we haven't had any. But it's probably, this would be 3 years in a row, probably. The last 3 years, we've probably had auctions.
Any questions? We did a motion to, in accordance with the tax recovery process and set out in the Municipal Government Act. Public auction set for September 9th, 2024 at 2 p.m. in the town of Hanna council chambers. Like me to continue, or do you want to talk a little more? The council chambers proceed to sale of following properties: block 13 and 14, block 17, plan 6133 AW, block 2, block 1, plan 751077722, block 7, plan 1, or lot 7, block 1, plan 7510722, lots 10 and 10 to 12, block 3, plan 6133 AW, lot 16, block 31, plan 6133 AW, block 15, block 5, plan 6133 AW. And further that the reserve of these properties will be set at the 2024 assessed value. The purchaser will be required to make a 10% non-refundable deposit at the time of the auction, and full payment must be made within 30 days of the auction. Motion. Councilor Bowden. All in favor? Carried. Municipal Affairs Amendment, Bill 20. That's a hot button.
Where did you go, Mr. Mayor?
Sorry,
903.
1203.
We're just on.
Oh, 903, sorry, I went down one page. I put a check mark where I shouldn't have. Harvest Sky Land Development Partnership.
Oh.
Yeah.
So, Mr. Mayor, just following up, I think, council's aware, administration was approached by a local builder inquired if the town would be interested in partnering to have a spec house built. Either by themselves or in partnership, or by ourselves or in partnership. Council discussed this request at the April 24th, council info meeting and passed a resolution at that meeting that we direct administration to inquire if Harvest Sky Economic Development Corporation would be interested in managing the process to work with builders interested in building a spec home in Hanna. So the request went to Harvest Sky Economic Development Corporation. They held a meeting on May 28th to discuss this request. At the meeting, the board passed a resolution that the Harvest Sky Economic Development Corporation enter into or send a request to the town of Hanna and the Special Areas Board to enter into a four-way partnership with the builder that approached the town of Hanna to construct a spec home on a lot in the Fielding Place subdivision. Partners will contribute equal amounts up to a maximum of $150,000 as either cash contribution or a combination of cash, land, or in-kind contribution. The partnership agreement would include the following provisions. The builder would provide a suitable design and cost. The request to the town of Hanna also includes a waiver of both property taxes and town utilities until such time as the property is sold. The expense of the project to be split equally by the four partners. Harvest Sky will be on title as owning the property until such time as it's sold. Project will be completed with 1 year from the agreements being signed. So that's where we're at. The request is before council to see if they would want to partner with a one-time contribution and move forward on that. Special Areas met this afternoon. Mr. Nakota and myself were in attendance with the board, and the board had a discussion. I have not heard what their decision is, whether they agree to be a partner at this point or not. So.
Any more discussion, Councilor Warwick?
So I guess my question is I'm just trying to identify, the funds of 150,000, because this is not, obviously, we've done our budget now.
Yeah.
So where are we?
We take it from accumulated surplus, Councilor Warwick.
Councilor Murphy?
So the details that you have here say, of course, the agreement, how much you split the expenses, but once the house sells, do you also split the sale?
Yes.
It's just not in there,
Okay, yeah.
and I
no,
just thought,
Yeah, the sale will be split four ways, and then at that point in time, as the discussion with Special Areas Board was to, at that point in time, whether the municipal governments wish to take their money back, or whether they wish to continue to leave it with
Yeah.
Harvest Sky
Yeah.
to take on a future project, a housing project, so.
thank you.
That decision can be made later if it gets to that state, so.
So this would be considered a pilot project then, not an ongoing practice
Correct,
between the three entities?
correct. It would be, this is we haven't labeled it a pilot project, but that's why we're saying a one-time contribution. And again, it will be evaluated based on its success, whether it met the requirements and priorities of council, whether it didn't. If it didn't, it would probably be one and done. If council was happy with it and wanted to continue, again, that would be their option at that time.
Councilor Bowden?
I think there was also discussion too that, because the contractor approached the town and obviously then talk to Harvest Sky, that after this is evaluated, then it would be determined if there would be others, other projects, that would open it up for other contractors to be involved as well. So the reason that we're going with the current contractor as a partner is because that individual came up, brought it forward. And had somebody else, brought it forward, well, I'm sure we'd be in the same boat with that contractor as well. So,
Yeah, again, if we went into future renditions of this, if this was successful and council and special areas and Harvest Sky wanted to go into a future endeavor, at that point, we would open it wide open to any builder in Hanna who was interested in partnering with us, so.
And just Mark did make mention today that he had conversation with the other contractors in town. Because, to be quite honest and frank, I am highly concerned that this, encroaches on private enterprise. And why we would engage in something like this, even though it was a request from a contractor, does pose the question, of how we support, private enterprise and how we'll do it on many other levels as well. I mean, because there is other businesses and contractors that do the same.
No, 100%,
Same services
100%,
in this
yeah.
community.
And the option around that is if the premise was to go out to all of the local builders and have them provide proposals and then selecting the best proposal, it just delays the timing on the project. But that's certainly an option that we would definitely use moving forward. It's just the Harvest Sky group felt at that time that this individual had brought forward the initiative, had brought forward the idea, so necessarily shouldn't be penalized as a result of it.
Any other discussion? Okay, can we get a motion that the town of Hunter into
I don't know if you want to read that whole one, Mr. Mayor, but
So I'm gonna decline voting on any of this. There's contract for,
You're not directly affected by the funding, so you actually can't. You are not,
no security contract or conflict.
you are not receiving funds unless you are. Are you involved in the,
but if you want to declare pecuniary interest, you can, Councilor Crowley.
but not, I mean, I'm just saying, because if you're family, if you feel like you're a family. And,
well, I am.
okay, I mean, but that's not a reason to declare pecuniary interest if you are family, just because of.
Yeah, the definition of pecuniary interest is that you have a benefit financially from the decision that's been made
In your house.
But if you feel
If you
that
feel
you want
comfortable, you
to,
don't want.
that's fine, you can declare pecuniary interest, Councilor Crowley. Is that what you'd like to do?
No,
Okay.
Also,
Just one comment. I mean, we've been talking about the potential for this for years, since my first term. There's finally momentum moving in Fielding Place, and since that place was empty for so many years, was always the idea, if one was built, it would keep going. We've got two there. I'm happy to jump on the momentum to get it going. I love this idea.
I think it's a good point as well.
well, and then it'll be finally where the town's getting taxes from land, that has been developed. And sold, and so that is a huge benefit to be able to get things going.
Okay. On recommendation of CEO Neil, can I get a motion to the effect that?
Just the administration's recommendation for number one.
Yes, for number one, so the town have blah, 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 blah. Councilor Murphy?
Yeah.
All in favor? Carried.
So there is two parts to this motion, Mr.
Yeah,
Mayor.
so the second part is the town provide Harvest Sky Economic Development Corporation with $2,500 to assist with the cost related to the in producing the development opportunity proposal to be used as a attract housing developers with funds to be derived from the 2024 operating budget.
So, Mr. Mayor, just a little bit of background on that. So as we're aware, Mr. Dakota and Harvest Sky have been looking at housing needs in the community, have done some preliminary work on that. They're at a point where they would like to prepare a professional development opportunity package, retaining some architectural firms, some engineer firms to develop the package so that they can go out and try and entice or recruit some developers to come in to looking at building the bigger picture, whether it's some apartments, whether it's some duplexes. We know that there's a significant need there. We do have in our operating budget, Mr. Mayor, we have in the past always had $2,500 in business and communication for typically was there if any marketing opportunities came up that was happening in the region that we could partner in or be on, that we have some dollars able to step in and be a partner there. So there is some funding there as we speak, Mr. Mayor, so it would not require an amendment to the budget or anything to fund that $2,500.
Any discussion on that? Hearing none, can we get a motion on number 2, please?
I have a question. You're voting on putting out 2,500 to a big corporation or a group of people to plan and whatever, to build in our town. That's fabulous, there it is. This young lady wants a couple of dollars to help people living here now, trying to eat. You're denying her, but you're.
We haven't denied, no motion has come to the table as current.
Thank you, I stand corrected.
Okay, so can we get a motion on number 2, please?
So are we the only one putting in 2,500?
No, the same request went to special areas as well. Sorry, I didn't.
Counselor Murphy,
And Harvest Sky.
all in favor?
And Mr. Crowe.
No, just the 3, because it's not just specific.
Opposed? Uh, 9.04, bylaw 1035, 2020, or 24, oh boy.
So-
Mr. Mayor.
Yes.
Just as a point of reference here, just for this gentleman in the gallery, the $150,000 that we have just consented upon and voted
No, I'm
upon.
not worried about the 150,000, that's way more than this young lady was asking about. I'm talking about the 2,500, this gentleman was just asking about for putting together a survey sort of thing that says, are you people willing to come and look and invest in Hanna? That's a great idea, but if she's trying to help people grow food,
We
and all she
understand,
wants is a small donation of that sort.
we understand that, but I was gonna allude to the $150,000 is virtually a loan. We will be recouping.
I understood that when I listened to the conversation, ma'am, thank you. I'm just saying, I wasn't concerned about that because she already explained with that building sells or whatever and the property, the money is split and returns the funds to you, or you opt to leave it in the system and go around again. I understand that.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay,
My apologies for unbidden.
no problem. Back to the bylaw 1035-24 animal control bylaw public engagement plan.
So, Mr. Mayor, just, this is just formalizing the public engagement plan that was presented to council at the council information session. How we're gonna move forward on the public engagement portion of the animal control bylaw. So I don't know, I'm not gonna go through the plan that was presented at the council information meeting. Just need to formally, adopt and approve that plan.
Discussion. I think the $50 hen fee was one that was kind of mentioned in our information session, correct?
Yeah, but at that point, as I suggested, Mr. Mayor, until we bring forward a second reading, that would certainly be an opportunity to make any of those types of amendments.
Okay,
And Mr. Mayor, if I'm,
Councilor Rowe.
correct me if I'm wrong here, but also some of the amendments to this bylaw could happen through the public engagement and public hearing process as well, so.
Well, definitely you want to get the feedback from the residents
Right.
on the bylaw. And then using that feedback, you can, make the necessary amendments.
So. I would make the motion.
Okay, Council Warwick
Based on
approves
the
the public
timelines.
engagement presentation, 10:35 on 2024, animal control bylaw to be approved. All in favor? Carry. 2024 capital budget amendment, plow truck purchase.
So, Mr. Mayor, in the 24 capital budget, council allocated $220,000 for the purchase of a new plow truck to replace our existing 2000 Freightliner model. We did go out, advertise a request for proposal for a new plow truck through the Alberta Purchasing Connection, and received 4 proposals. 4 proposals are identified below, so there was one from Freightliner, one from International, one from Metro Ford, and one from Industrial Machine. Different prices, but we are recommending the Freightliner at $267,000. That means we're $47,000 short. What we are recommending to council is that we pull the $47,000 from accumulated surplus and direct and purchase the Freightliner would be available December of 2024. In our capital budget, you may recall that our plan was to basically, I'm gonna call it an internal borrow from accumulated surplus. We are gonna take the 220, buy the project, and then or buy the plow truck, and then we are going to pay back that reserve $44,000 over the next 5 years, so that the reserve is where it was when we started. I'm still recommending that, Mr. Mayor, we do have $44,000 in the 24 capital budget that would repay that reserve this year, but we would have to meet the 267, we'd have to increase years 2025 to 2028 to what is it, 55,000, I have it here somewhere.
55,750.
55,750, thanks, and then that would be repaid in full. So certainly council has the option to not accept any proposals. Simply means that the truck won't be replaced, and knowing how things are going, council goes back to the drawing board next year, it will be more than 267, so.
That's just another single axle mount.
Guys, we also, if council approves this purchase, we also will be selling our 2000 plow truck and our 79 Chevy 3-ton, because this truck will be able to serve dual purposes.
Is that the one with the old logo from 1867 on it?
Well, 1867, but 1979,
A little orange.
orange.
What's the value of those gold change?
It depends. None of the dealers want to take them on trade, but if you look on Kijiji, there's a lot of older ones. They're upwards of 30 for the big plow truck. And the old Cheyenne, it's just whoever's interested in that truck, it could go. Yeah, there is none. It's got a bit of a transmission leak. Just needs new seals and stuff, but people, somebody like Logan Gucci or somebody that thinks it's an antique, I don't know what it would be for.
So the thought would be if we move forward this way, whatever we can get for those items, then that would go towards that surplus, filling that reserve back again. So it would probably shorten the time frame or shorten the amount required in future years. We just don't have a definite amount of what that would bring us at this point.
Any more discussion? So would like to make a motion if we purchase here.
Sure.
Councilor Olson. All in favor? Carried. Sales surplus items, that's quite a collection we've got. Yes.
It is quite a collection we have, Mr. Mayor. Our community services facilities manager is not has a different landscaping ideas than our previous one. Mr. Henry loved bricks. Kevin, not so much, and Kevin likes a clean yard and would like to sell a lot of those landscaping stones The other piece, the adjustable bench is out of our weight fitness center. We've replaced it. And, the convection oven came out of the community center. We did look for bid for it before, but we didn't get a bid that we felt was suitable, so we didn't sell it. Again, from the community center, we've got, the exhaust fan, rooftop exhaust fan, the steam table. We have some old phones, cordless phones and desk phones, whether there's any value in them, I don't know. And we have an old and a few push mowers. Kevin wasn't quite sure which push mowers we put in, but there's a couple he thinks are surplus that we could sell. So we do need, authority from council to be able to sell those items, and what the intention would be is if council gives us this direction, we would set a date, probably 2 or 3 days in the arena. We would move all of the stuff into the arena, advertise it viewing, and bids, and we'll have a form there. People can fill in a bid, put it in an envelope and
Seal tender.
seal tender and go from there. So
Could you consider a live auction?
we would, I just don't know what value the cost would get from some of these items is gonna be minuscule.
Sometimes live auctions bring in more than sealed bid auctions, I think sometimes.
Yeah, this has been our practice. Certainly that doesn't mean it's the right practice, but that's what we've been doing in the past, so.
Actually, what's been working rather well is the online auctions.
The online auction is
Yeah.
working better than me.
I just don't know that we have enough volume to
For the cost.
Pay
be
commission.
worth the effort. This is, yeah.
That's
And
what,
to
to
get
pay
it
your
on.
commission on your.
Yeah, exactly.
25%.
Well, I was thinking one of the staff could do it. Auction it off.
Braden talks.
Well, that's what I was thinking.
Then
We
you
have an individual.
I
that
think for
would be really good at
simplistic sake, I think the seal thing, just we have to make sure we advertise it well.
Yeah, never decibel over 3 days or 2 days.
It'll be sealed per item, right? So
Yeah.
Yeah,
if someone just wants the one set of.
if someone just
Yeah.
wants one set of bricks, they would just bid on the one set.
Wait, that's a lot of different stones.
Yeah.
Well, not a brick, a pallet.
No, no.
Yeah.
Any thoughts, concerns?
Is it worth hauling it all down there?
Well,
Have to haul it all back? That's it, you know.
That is
That's
a
true. Yeah.
question. That's a
Yeah.
Can't you have it displayed on site where it's at, and it not work that way?
Yeah, there is, but it's not the best spot to have people at, so.
Mm.
This way they can come in, they can walk around it all and see it all in the same spot. at the
Yeah,
same
the
time.
garage interest will be there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, like I said, I think if we market it properly with our, Facebook and so on and so forth, I think if there is any interest. I know some of the stuff has interest in it already, so.
And the earlier the better, because it's
Well-
landscaping season, so we
Yeah.
wanna make sure we catch.
Trouble is, we just don't have access to the arena until July.
Yeah, lacrosse. is still
Lacrosse
going.
is still in there, so,
Which is still all right, still.
yeah.
Any more discussion? Motion that council authorize CEO to offer for sale and advertise locally the items returning to be surplus for operation of the town of Hanna on an as-is basis by sealed bid. Motion, Councilor Thorold, I'm acting at our auctioneer extraordinaire. All in favor? Carried. 9.07. Council information, cancellation.
So just threw it out there for council, so. Currently, as we speak, there's nothing that I have on the agenda for the, June 26th council information meeting. Mayor Podstruck is gonna be away. We didn't have anything on the agenda, so because we have, made these dates and approved these dates, if we want to change it, we need a council motion to change it. So my recommendation was we could cancel the June 26th council information meeting If council wishes to continue to host it, we will host it as normal and there'd be no resolution required.
Well, yeah, but Lieutenant Murphy's.
Yeah, well, yeah, Councilor Deputy Mayor.
I'm
Murphy
feeling a
can chair.
flu coming on, I'm just letting you know.
Yeah, no, it wasn't Deputy Mayor can chair, it was just we had nothing on the agenda at this point in time, so.
There is a pet joint meeting in Tabor that day too, that would open a door for,
Okay.
Yeah, because I got a negotiation meeting that goes on, but I could make a couple hours, but
Yeah,
it's a little hard to.
certainly it's council's prerogative.
Yeah,
If we want to stay with the meeting, no resolutions required. If council wants to, cancel it, we need a resolution.
And I'm done June 30th.
Yeah.
I done it.
well, if we have nothing,
I'll make.
on the agenda or proposed for the agenda, I would say, yeah.
Okay, Councilor
I'll
Wong
make,
makes the
I'll
motion.
make the motion.
All in favor?
Of what?
I can't.
Canceling the meeting. Opposed?
I oppose.
Carried.
I had my hand up late, so I oppose.
Okay. On that note, Canada Day, who takes over as deputy mayor?
Councillor Warwick
Warwick.
on July 1st.
I may not be back in time to do my Canada Day duties, so.
July 1st is my takeover day, eh?
Yes.
So,
July 1st to
fantastic.
February 28th of next year.
I have full intentions of being back, it just, we're trying to make some arrangements to get out of Portland as early as we can, so I didn't want you to be all of a sudden, he's not here.
Now, while,
Well, I
Mr. Mayor,
will-
while you're away, Mr. Neil, you will keep apprised to me if there's anything you need me to do.
100%, yeah.
Okay.
Registration.
I'm gonna make one decision, one.
Okay, number 10 is bylaws.
Oh, excuse me, Mr.
Sorry.
Mayor, so, do you want me to sing the national anthem that day?
Please.
You sing it?
Yeah.
That's what Mayor Bobischuk normally did.
Yeah.
so.
Yeah, it's got-
Councilor Olson.
Before we move on, since Carrie's been, it's 2 months on the agenda now, I think we should address that as a business item.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Yeah,
The donation, if we do that now.
Oh,
yeah, we can. for sure.
absolutely.
So we've all heard the presentation on the sprinkler system for the community garden. Councilor Olson, I take it you're chomping at the bit.
But just, I know you thought you were down the hot seat, Carrie, but the design of this, is this the best? Do you want better? Could you get away with less, or is this is adequate, this is nice?
This will work for everything, it'll keep the crops growing, it'll maintain it, and people will feel successful.
I'm comfortable with it, a group that hasn't asked for anything financially as far as I'm aware of in quite some time.
No, I'm not aware of any financial request.
I do like the idea of, the 25%. I'd be very comfortable with that, which means $1,680 from your group. Is that insurmountable?
I have to check with treasurer, I don't, we probably have that.
Okay, if that's someone-
Very minimal.
As the, I point out, talk to the Legion or, I know it's gonna slow it down. I don't know how fast some of those groups can react.
Is there any way we could put it in as a continuation? Or I'm saying we need to do it today. I'm not arguing that at all, but I'm just saying on a successful application of grants that we could get that 25% repaid, I guess is the way I'm looking for.
Maybe a loan.
Yeah.
I'll pay the $1,025, whatever it is, I'll bring the money in tomorrow.
One day, yeah, it's 1,680 is
I'll bring the
25%.
money in tomorrow, sir.
Perfect.
Thank you.
I'd like to make, are you making the motion? Councillor,
Councilor Warwick, Councilor
No,
Olson.
I have a question. So where does this money come from? Where are we taking this? I always make this comment and, when we're giving out dollars, once again, here we are. Where does the dollars come from, number one, because we haven't made an adjustment in the budget for these dollars. And also the other question is, every dollar we give out affects us in some way. Every community member in this community, in a way probably of taxes. So I guess that's a sacrifice we made we make when we continuously give out dollars. That, you know, what it does, if that money has to come from somewhere. So my thought is always, do we mind, you know, paying more taxes to make up for that dollar amount? And that's what we're looking at once again. This will be the third time in this fiscal, you know, year that we're going to be, I have to say these same things again, you know, is that, you know, this is on the backs of taxpayers, is that dollars has to come somewhere. So.
Councilor Olson.
My comment on that, Councilor, because every year at budget time, and I always bring it up, the accumulated surplus keeps growing. It just grows, and we flirt with the line of responsible taxation, over taxation, under taxation. This isn't gonna change next year. This is the accumulated surplus that we have, that it's nice to see it being spent down. I don't know what a responsible amount is. There's been 5 million, there's been 7 million there. It gives us the ability to do this big downtown project and the ability to help out multiple groups in the same fiscal year, and not have to honestly worry about next year. This $5,040 would be the donation to cover 75%. You just consider that spread out over, if it's 10 years that groups existed, well, $500 a year stipend that we've given them, then it's over. And if they come back in a year, we'll say, well, we've already done this. If they come back in 10 years, well, it's much easier. I'm sure you can't predict the future, but this should set them up for quite some time, be quite sustainable. Use more AHS water, that'll help out Henry Kruger, burn, you know, increase their capital.
Yeah.
Call it economic stimulus then.
And I'm not gonna disagree with you, Councillor Olson. You can spin this anyway. I sat through the meetings that we debated what, our tax increase would look like or decrease this last year. There was, you know, lots of conversations around, infrastructure that needed to have upgrades done, what it would look like on a long-term basis, what it would look like on an annual basis, and an accumulation of several millions of dollars on an ongoing basis. So I just think every year when we consider all these things, I am not in favor of raising taxes. I am not ever going to sit at this table and vote for a tax increase with the way we spend money. I think that, you know what, I pay enough taxes on a personal level and a corporate level. And I understand, you know, we have to pay taxes, but what is the distinct line, like you've mentioned, of what those taxes look like on an annual basis is the question at stake here.
Councilor Murphy.
So as somebody who's lost everything, I certainly relate to the people who have nothing. And not everybody here can, but I certainly can. And these are not people who are deciding between their Jaguar payment and food. These are people who have nothing. And we do spend money. We get the new plow trucks. We do infrastructure, but they don't always know a year in advance so that we can have it in our budget. We have to have some flexibility when the need is there. I am completely supportive of offering assistance. And I think, considering, Councillor Campion, who donated every single year, it was his absolute love. And out of respect for him, we should consider doing this because I really think it makes a difference, and especially for the mental health community. So I'm completely supportive of it. I understand we don't want to raise taxes. But we have to listen to every case and really understand how scary it is out there when you can't eat. And I've not eaten a couple of times. And I was so glad we had a council meeting because I got to eat. I hadn't eaten in 3 days. So I know how that feels. So I'm.
Any more discussion?
So just one comment then. So what we're saying is there is a greater need? There's people, what is the percentage of the people that own this, that are part of this community garden that you say there's a need? So from now to August till they harvest this, like these people are gonna go without? There's no food sources for them. There's, you know, other than probably we have the food bank and some other outreach opportunities in our community. So what percentage are you saying that come to the community garden that are in that,
I don't ask that question. Things who they I do not ask.
And these people, I hope they understand that there is other outreaches within our community, such as a food bank and that they can outsource as well.
Using the garden as an alleviate to food bank.
Sorry, I didn't hear what you said.
Using the garden as an alleviate to food bank, so they can make their own food and make more of it than using the food bank.
So on a plot of that size, would you predict that they could have enough surplus of food to get them through the whole winter?
Yes.
Okay.
Any other discussion, Councilor Bowden?
Yeah, I'm just gonna make a comment that, we're accountable for everybody within the community. So, I think, it just seems that more and more people are coming asking for more and more money and such. And as Councillor Kroll had mentioned, when do we say enough is enough, or we can do a portion or whatever. So we get people complaining to us about money that we're handing out to people that are maybe not putting money into their project or things of that nature. So we get it from both sides. So, it'd be nice to be able to help everybody, but how much is everybody willing to pay?
Okay, so can we get a motion to support the community garden?
So I guess the motion, just trying to paraphrase the motion, would be that council approve funding to the Hanna Community Garden Society to the 75% of their project and the equivalent amount of, what was that, council?
$5,040.
Does that capture?
Yeah.
Motion.
Okay, so Councilor also, you'd like to make that motion?
Sure.
All in favor? Opposed? Carried.
Just one other note, Mr. Mayor, if I may,
Yep.
thank you, sir.
And you bring it, if you've got the machine, I'll give you my debit card.
No, you can bring me cash, that's fine. I want nothing to do with
You
it.
can fight me on that one.
Okay, bylaws,
Thank you.
Nothing, Mr. Mayor.
okay, council report and roundtable. Councilor Kroll,
Got nothing to add, no.
Councilor Bowden,
Yeah, we had a Harvest Sky Economic Development Corporation meeting this morning. And we received a letter of resignation from our only employee, Mr. Martin Akoda. And, basically at the end of June, is the end of his regular payment, regular payroll, and starting July 1st, he will be going, on an hourly basis, or paid on an hourly basis. And, yeah, so we have a few things to try and decide what is going to happen with Harvest Sky, whether there's a chance to reorganize or, find a different format, how to find a replacement, things of that nature. So
challenging times.
it is, yeah, and I really believe that Mark has done an amazing job. Work that he has done that people are not aware of. It takes time to do economic development. And I believe from the marketing that he has done with the videos and Facebook and such is why our town has been seeing a lot more activity and houses selling and things of that, and houses being built, things of that nature. So, yeah, I think he'll be really missed, and wish him all the best. And other than that, I have a late submission due to family. I was not available.
So, you said he's going to hourly, is he doing like a monthly?
Just
contract,
August
or-
16th,
Yeah,
because that will be his officially last day.
yeah.
Okay.
But if there is some project still in the works, he is willing to help with any new replacement. So, yeah, we'll be going through some changes.
Councilor Warwick,
That, everything else I have is in my report, and that would be the only thing that I would bring to the surface too, but Councilor Cole or Councilor, has done it, so thank you.
Councilor Olson?
Aside from all the normal stuff, I did have a community foundation in Southeast Alberta, would did a presentation to links for almost a sales pitch for their endowment funds, which was interesting and more information on that procedure. I also had a meeting with Barb Larson, the owner of Shoregrass Cannabis today, and she's got ideas for mitigation, I guess, for what she's assuming she'll go through. She's aware that any financial loss that she assumes is going to happen, to what degree is unknown, of course, so it happens. She's got several requests. I certainly bring them forward. Some I agree with, some I don't. And I told her as such, just representing myself, not council as a whole. So her first ask, she wanted the town to commit to not approving any other cannabis stores for a minimum of 3.5 years. As if something moves in, it's taken her 3.5 years to build it, was her thought. And I told her my opinion on that. I'm not interested in saying no to businesses, but she thought that was a fair request. According to AGLC, the town can deny any requests for any of that licensing. AGLC cannot. She talked about signage on the highway, whether it was chamber or what to draw more people in. She thought we had discussed that already. Do remember discussions about signage on the closed off area to at least let people know where parking is going to be and that you can still access these businesses. So that I assume we're going to still do anyways. So that's alleviated that.
The internal signage, definitely, yes. We hadn't contemplated anything on the highway.
Yeah, and that's what
saying
I
our
told her.
downtown is still open.
I wasn't aware of any discussions that way. She thought we had discussed that. She was hoping for reimbursement. She has rules for AGLC that when her product is delivered, it has to be under a camera. So she spent significant money, set up her camera on all her product and all the entrances where it comes in. But now deliveries will have to come in the back and she has no camera there. So she thinks she'll have to do a camera regardless. And she was hoping for reimbursement for that portion since that is directly responsible for what the town is doing. I'm certainly not against that at a reasonable cost. So I don't know if she'll bring an invoice or what we'll do. We'll have discussion that way. She also, again, this would be post project. She would like taxes waived for downtown or retail hospitality businesses with the evidence of loss of income, significant loss of income over this. I said, we're not committing to anything. We can have discussions after. Like lots of communities have gone through this without significant loss to those businesses. I do hope, town people will take advantage and still do the same shopping they would have done, the same services. I'm confident in a lot of our ratepayers doing that. And then she was hoping for a discussion on reserved parking for retail businesses on this north side. The south side has parking in behind. So whether she just asked to strategize it. I don't know if there's any thoughts for, a couple signs that say for picking on Hanna Pizza and Steakhouse or Shoregrass Cannabis, 20-minute parking that's closest. Some of her customers are limited mobility.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I just don't know how we enforce that.
Yeah, like you can put signage because it's gonna be, see special areas has put up special areas parking only. People will still park there, I'm sure, and walk, but that's gonna deter a lot of people. The Legion, I'm assuming that'll be a nuisance. People will park there and still walk, whether there's signage for Legion only, or maybe they'll say, 20-minute parking for non-Legion. I can't speak for them, but I'm sure they've had discussions on
Are
it.
you going to know if they're Legion or not? Whatever.
Yeah, and that'll happen.
Military, but I don't broadcast most of the time.
Yeah, and that'll happen in ATV parking lot. They don't have signage for anything. People will be considerate. They're not gonna take up several spots, but they'll be in and out and just, hopefully make downtown as accessible as possible. But I don't know if this will be something we should have on the agenda probably for next council meeting or next info session. It's not anything we can react to very quickly. It's a lot of it post project as well. My ideal thing is this whole project is a medium-sized pain in the ass for all the business owners. And we'll speed things along.
So Councilor Olson, correct me if I'm wrong, the only immediate asks our camera.
Yeah. Yeah, and she never gave a number on that.
Which I wouldn't think would be
Well,
a
based on-
crazy amount, knowing her system is,
In town.
her system
It
is
should be just
there.
adding
Yeah.
a camera to her existing
Yeah.
system.
Yeah, which I would think would be minimal, but I don't know for sure.
Yeah, I don't either. No.
But with temporaries, and nothing against that, but what, against a camera, but with temporary sidewalks, why is the front?
It's a Highway 9 truck.
The truck
Pulls
can't
in,
get close
and
enough.
the
in
truck
front.
has to be visible by camera.
I thought she didn't have.
There's a lot of wild rules for this, for her product that will ease in time, but not in the next week or two. That's all I have.
Perfect. Councilor Murphy?
First, I want to say I really appreciate that you were able to get some concrete suggestions. I want to mention the highway sign was one of the 30 items I threw at, well, why don't we try this? Why don't we, so it was spoken by me that could be an option if it'll help her, because her concern was out of town clients that'll turn the corner and go, I'm not even gonna bother, it's all closed, to make sure they know that we're still open for business, like all the businesses downtown.
Well, I think-
So that's probably where that came in.
I'm sorry,
Councilor
but,
Murphy?
I'm sorry, can I just add to that as well? I think there was some discussion that the town would be putting signs on the fences as well.
Yes, so
Letting
there
people
there
know
will be.
inside.
Yeah, but this is more, yeah,
Yeah.
right
I
on,
didn't-
on the highway entrance areas, yeah. I've had my Acadia Foundation meeting. I attended the tea, which was lovely, even though it was sandwichy. It was still, the people still had a lovely time. And that's about it.
Councilor Farrell?
Oh, our community service board, we don't meet until September. And that's,
I have, had a fairly quiet go, just a little bit of senior stuff and, the GFL thing keeps, coming up.
Yes.
Other than that, it's been okay
Is there a test being done, Mr. Mayor,
continuously.
on the person who had all the crap in it?
I've actually talked to him and next time he has to do something, we're gonna go over and look at it.
And the smell is still good. See, there was something. Thank you.
Motion to.
Just one, sorry, Mr. Mayor, on that note, and this is something from Barb as well. There's a product and I've hung several of them up. There's air monitor devices that are just crowdsourced data. There's one in Owen, there's one in Hanna, I believe it's on the library called Purple Air.
No, it actually,
It's on our
Councilor
building.
Olson, it's on the back of
I was
the.
like, okay, so it's all public data. Anybody can go on and look. It shows air quality and particulate size. It's all there. So there's a lot of constant data that's been rolling for many years.
Purple air?
Yeah, Purple
The
Air.
other comment, Councilor Olson, we've been working with the Palliser Air Shed and they're looking at setting up another air monitoring station, a bigger unit in the library parking lot.
Okay.
It's not, when I say a bigger unit, it's not gonna take up a bunch of space, but just a little bit bigger can analyze more materials. So we're hoping that will happen over the summer as well. It needs to be connected to power and to Wi-Fi, but it runs 24/7 as well, so.
Would it not be a really good idea to have it at Jerry's Burger Baron? If you're gonna put it somewhere that, to see whether or not there's a problem, would it not be a good idea?
And we're looking globally throughout the town, correct? So they do have air monitoring on site.
We have to
Okay.
provide the power and the internet and everything else to make it run.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, that's why it's general.
Oh, that's what the
public
library
buildings.
Well, I word is traffic calming devices, like the radar that we ran on Pioneer for a little while and Palliser for a little while. Is that something that's available again? I just had a few people asking and. I
It
don't
would be a
know.
request of the RCMP. They brought it in last
Okay.
time.
I'll, yeah. If everyone.
We always get mixed.
Oh,
We always get
somebody
mixed
trying to do
reviews.
high
I know
score.
that people are trying to see how fast they can go.
Oh,
and
if
definitely-
Turn the lights on.
But it's certainly something we could request
Is that something we want
we
to
can
try
request.
again, or?
Why?
Where do you wanna put it?
I was thinking of Pioneer Palliser again. I know, Palliser in the morning, I've been past several mornings doing 45K down the hill and getting past on my way down. Not that a science or a traffic control light is gonna make any difference, but
It's a no passing zone, isn't it?
yeah, no, it's not, you're absolutely right.
Maybe the lines should be painted back.
Yeah. Okay. Motion to accept, roundtable for information. Council Olson, all in favor? Carried. Anything in correspondence other than the one I wanted to get to so fast was the Bill 20?
I don't know, Mr. Mayor, certainly there were some minor adjustments made to Bill 20 when it was finally approved. That information's in your package. Certainly, I know it's not to the satisfaction of AM or RMA in regards to their issues and concerns, but there was some amendments. That's all I can say at this point in time, so. Certainly, I'm sure he had Minister McIver had lots of feedback, I am sure, on it, so, but they made the decision they made, so.
Shocking. Extremely shocking.
And,
So did
and
our
the
letter
town-
get sent in?
and our town LFGG funding letter.
And we never got no direct letter in regards to the,
No response back.
The 12-4, for Minister McIver, again, our local fiscal government framework, that's what we expected. That's the amount we expected. That's what they promised us to give us for infrastructure this year. The other one, just to point out, 1205, so council will remember, we partnered on a letter with Starland Special Areas, the Ag Society, to the Minister of Mental Health and Addiction about our family and marriage therapy program and how it was being used significantly at a cost to our local organizations because people were having trouble accessing the provincial mental health supports. Just his response letter is in here, whether you agree with it or not,
I was so disappointed.
that's the response, so.
That was a blah blah. That's all he did was a blah blah.
Anything else? Motion to accept correspondence for information. Let's vote. All in favor? Carried. No closed session.
Nope.
We will adjourn at 7:55.